I got a pretty simple video for you and one that I think you will enjoy. Here, I have a chart that has every player who played with the Yankees in 2021 towards the end of the season. They're big names that played. So I'm going to be ranking them and how I think they did, my favorites, my least favorites. So let's get started right away. First, Anthony Rizzo. I liked him. I think that he was a little bit overhyped at first and settled down, but I liked him overall. Albert Abreu. I'm kind of on thin ice with him just because I feel like he pitched more innings than needed, and he was not that good. He had like a 5 ERA. Who is this? Trey Amberg, I think. I didn't really like him that much. I mean, he just wasn't that good. You know what I mean? He was mainly an outfield substitute when we had a ton of injuries, so yeah, I'm kind of like neutral or dislike him. Next, Miguel Andujar. On thin ice. If he's healthy, he's going to be a great player because he's a great DH, has a great bat. Issue is he hasn't been healthy, and he can't field. He has no trade value. He can easily be a player I dislike or a player that I love, depending on what happens next season. Next, Brett Gardner. I'm neutral on him. I think he's a decent outfielder. He played more games than I would have wanted him to last season because we had a lot of injuries. Hoping we don't bring him back, but, don't dislike him, don't like him. Alright, Zach Britton. Dislike. His contract is hurting the Yankees so much. I think that this season we've learned you shouldn't overpay for relievers because you can trade for guys like Clay Holmes, Wendy Peralta, Joely Rodriguez for next to nothing, and they can be great. So I think that we shouldn't be overpaying for relievers, and he's one of the biggest overpays. He's just injured all the time. Next is Joey Gallo. It's another guy who I'm going to put him on thin ice just because he hasn't quite performed with the Yankees, and we gave up a lot of prospects for him. Yeah, but he could move up to this area where I like him, but currently he's just on thin ice. He needs to perform it in the full season. Green. I like Green. I know a lot of people don't, and I don't understand the hate. He's a solid pitcher. Always has been. He's just a solid pitcher who doesn't get injured. Gives up some big home runs, but overall he's a great pitcher. Chapman. I dislike him right now. We're stuck with him for another year. It doesn't seem like he's going to go back to ace form, and he's owed $17 million. That just hurts me a lot. Clark Schmidt, I'm pretty neutral on him. He's a prospect, so there's not too much in my brain to like about him because he's not the best prospect. Not too much to dislike about him. Just neutral. Frazier. Oh, Frazier. Now he's not on the team anymore. I'll still rank him though. If he was on the team, he would be here on the thin ice category. Now, 2 years ago, he was in the love/like category because he was so good. And now he's been injured and it's been bad for him. So he's on thin ice for me. Garrett Cole. I mean, Cole's a great. He's the ace of the rotation. He's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball every single season. I know he's being paid a lot. I know some people say, oh, we can only pitch with spider tack. That's not true. It was mainly his hamstring that hurt him. You can look at it when he was not injured. Then after his first 2 starts not using spider tack, he was great. So Garrett Cole, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I just kind of don't like how his contract is. Davy Garcia. I'm going to go neutral just because he isn't owed a ton of money. He hasn't negatively affected the Yankees at the major league level. I used to like him because he was a great prospect. He had a horrible season in the minors, though. So I'm pretty neutral on him, because let's say he fails and is not good anymore. Well, he's just a prospect then. It's not too much in my brain to think about that. Like, he's just a prospect who failed, so that's my thoughts on him. Next, we have... Can't tell who that is. We'll get back to him. Gary Sanchez. I just like him. I mean, can't hit. He cannot field. Like, I'm not one of the fans that wants to, go out and get a new catcher. Just because I think he's an average catcher, but he doesn't have the hustle that I want, and that's something that annoys me. I think this was Estravan Florio. I always mispronounce that. I'm pretty neutral on him. I was a backup outfielder. Nothing more, nothing less. Some people say he's more. I don't think so. Then we have Luis Gil. I like Gil. Great fastball. Great slider. Command's iffy. Changeup's okay. I think that he's a great starter that can, come up from the minors and give you innings, or be traded and have a lot of trade value. I like him a lot. Next is Chris Kittens. I'm neutral on him. Neutral, there's not much else about him. Like, he's okay. He did okay. Not much else to say. Torres. Another guy on thin ice. If he performs and he's healthy and, he goes back to not being 2021 Torres, he's one of the best players in baseball. He's going to hit you 30-plus home runs. I know people can say the juice ball, but he's still a double hitter then. You're going to get a lot of doubles. He just needs to... He needs to be more comfortable. I think moving him back to second's the right choice. So I'm hoping that he can get back to being Gleyber Torres. But if he's not, then it's horrible that we have him on the team. It's going to negatively affect us every year. Greg Allen. Oh, I like Allen. I really do. He did so well in the minors. He did well in the majors. Missile for an arm. Switch hitter. I'm sad that we had to give him up. I'd be really mad if we re-signed Gardner as like a fifth outfielder, because we could have had Allen there. So I'm going to miss Allen a good bit. Aaron Hicks. Another guy on thin ice. I feel like there's a lot of players on thin ice here. If he's healthy, he will be an outfielder putting up around 3 to 4 WAR. And for his contract of $10 million, that will be a steal. If he's not healthy, he's going to be annoying with the $10 million contract until he's 36. So if he performs this season, he'll be a player that I like. If he doesn't, I'll dislike him. So a lot of these guys in this middle tier have a lot matters just on how they do this season. Now, Andrew Heaney. Wish nothing but the worst. He failed us. We gave up prospects for him, and he put up like a 5 or 7 ERA. I hate him. No more comments on that. Kyla Agashioka. I'm pretty neutral at the start. I liked him. His bat was there, and he's one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. But right now, I'm just neutral on him. Decent backup. Clay Holmes. Oh, I love Holmes. We gave up Poison Park for him. Fans were freaking out. Then Matt Blake worked his magic and made him into one of the best relievers in baseball. It's cheap. We have a lot of team control with him. Love watching his sinker pitch. Just watching that sinker move is great. So, Holmes is one of the players I love on this team. Next, Jameson Taion. I like him. He got off to a very rocky start with the Yankees. He ended up recovering and did pretty well, so I think he's a good starter. Only have one more year of him. We'll be interested to see if we bring him back, but, he's a decent third or fourth in the rotation. Good pitcher. Joely Rodriguez. I'm neutral for him. He had a lot of success with the Yankees, but he can only pitch against lefties. And in a world where there's not where the 3-batter minimum exists, his value goes down because of that. Aaron Judge. It's a favorite. And that's plain and simple. He's one of the best players in baseball. He was healthy. He's a favorite, plain and simple. Hoping he's a Yankee for a long time. But hopefully he's a Yankee for a long time and doesn't have a Jacoby Ellsbury type contract where he's injured. Corey Kluber. I actually liked him a good bit. He was really good at the start. Pitched that no-hitter. Got some momentum going. I know he was injured. But he was good. He had a lot of big moments with the Yankees. I think that he was one of the more professional players on the team. Kind of got us to win again. I can't tell who that is, so we're going to skip over him for now. DJ LeMahieu. Ooh, another guy on thin ice. If he performs like he did in 2021 for the next 5 seasons, it's going to be painful because he's owed $15 million a season, and he's only getting older. If he reverts back to 2021 LeMahieu, or 2020 LeMahieu, then he's one of my favorites. I mean, he's in the love/favorites category. So, it's on thin ice. If he doesn't perform, I'm disliking him. If he does, he's one of my favorites. Tim LaCastro. I liked LaCastro. I liked his speed. I think it was something missing with the Yankees. He's a fun player. I liked him. Obviously, he's not with the team anymore. Johnny Lasagna. Ooh. He was great. His pitches are filthy. Everything about him is great. I don't know what's not to love about him. He's still on arbitration. His contract's not hurting us. It's one of my favorites. Next. Can't tell who some of these guys are, so we're going to pass on them. Domingo Germán. I'm neutral on him. He's an okay pitcher. There's not much else to say about that. Then we have Jordan Montgomery. I actually really like Montgomery. Like, he's in kind of the upper half of the liking for players. This isn't in order, but if it was, that's where he would be. Because he's one of the best pitchers in the rotation. He's solid. He's going to put up around 4 WAR. He's going to pitch you a lot of innings. Be a decent pitcher. Like, there's not much not to love about him. He's consistent, and you know what you're going to get. Nick Nelson. I hate Nick Nelson. I genuinely hate him. He was horrible. He pitched too many innings. He started too many games. Why we didn't release him earlier, I don't know. End of story. Nestor Cortez Jr. He's great. Love watching him pitch. He's one of the more entertaining pitchers to watch. Just because he has such a funky delivery. I think he's going to do slightly worse next season. But I'm still going to love him. He's one of the better pitchers, and he's a fun one to watch. Darren O'Day. I'm neutral. He didn't pitch much with the Yankees. He was injured almost his whole contract. So I'm not going to dislike him because he didn't negatively affect the Yankees. He had a cheap contract. I'm not going to like him because of that. Rougned Odor. I liked Odor. I thought his defense was underrated. His bat was alright. And he was playing for nothing. Severino. I like Sevy. Well, it's not much else to say. He has a good fastball. Good pitches. I'm happy he was back. Happy he played. Next, Stanton. I love Stanton. He's one of the few players in baseball that can hit a baseball over 120 miles an hour. He does it a lot. It's fun to watch. Loving that he's playing the field more. His value's increasing. Happy that he's kind of gotten rid of a lot of his haters. Geo Urschella. I'm just very neutral on him. I think he's an okay defensive third baseman. I don't think he's elite. I think his bat's okay. He's alright. He's not the fastest. He's just alright. Andrew Velasquez. Another guy I'm neutral on. I know a lot of people loved him. I thought he was alright. His bat was average. Defense was average. Only real thing that people loved about him was his speed and switch hitting. And I think that we did need that, but I can't love him because of the short sample size. Lou Voit. on thin ice. He led the league in home runs in 2020. Then he was injured a whole season. If he performs, if he plays well, if he's healthy, a lot of ifs with this team. If all of that happens, I'm going to love him again because he's going to be great for his price. He's arbitration eligible until like 36. Great. But otherwise, not that good. Tyler Wade. I used to dislike him, but he's neutral now. He was good defensively, had a lot of speed, hit really well. I think that he got very lucky at the plate. A really good backup. I wish that we had him. I also wish he had a minor league option. I understand why we don't. Wendy Peralta, other guy I'm neutral on. I think that he was a very good steal for the Yankees. Great lefty, really cheap, but there's nothing special about him that makes me love him. So I can't quite tell who these last few players are. I know one of them. Lucas Litke. I like Litke. I think he was one of the better, more underrated pitchers. Great lefty. He's going to be dirt cheap. Had a low ERA. He was great. But I can't quite tell who these last two are. Like I know who, I recognize their faces, but I don't recognize a name in my head. So this is my list. I'll try to link this in the comments below if you want to fill it out. So tell me what you think. Have a good day.